This is the Show Up Show, helping coaches, service providers, leaders, and entrepreneurs to master showing up to build their brand, authority, and grow their business. Whether it's showing up on social media, in front of an audience, on a live interview, or an actual stage, this podcast is going to help you overcome visibility fear to confidently brand yourself as the authority in your industry. I'm Joanne Chan, aka the Confidence and Visibility Queen, and I am on a mission to share how I went from a nobody to the confident leader I am today, what I have learned, and what I have done to build my brand and business from scratch, and help you do the same so that you can make an impact in the world with the meaningful work that you do. Whether you are new to the business world or feeling unsure about public visibility, or you want to be seen and heard in a way that doesn't feel icky but authentic to you, you will discover how to become visible in your own unique way and show up as the confident entrepreneur you have always dreamed about becoming. Now, it's time to get you show up and be confidently visible so you can easily attract more clients and opportunities for yourself. Joining us today is a renowned blockchain expert and the CEO of Lattice Lab, the groundbreaking company behind the only public blockchain with full cross-chain compatibility with zero fees. With his extensive experience and expertise in the blockchain industry, he is at the forefront of revolutionizing the way businesses operate and collaborate. As the CEO of Lattice Lab, he is dedicated to sharing his knowledge and promoting blockchain education to the masses, and he is also committed to providing cutting edge business solutions that leverage the capabilities of blockchain technology. So he continues to pave the way for a future where blockchain technology drives widespread adoption and transformation. He's here today to help empower businesses and shape the future of blockchain innovation. So, guys, help me in welcoming the CEO of Lattice Lab, Bijan Burnard. Hi, Bijan. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Hi, John. How are you? Nice to see you.
So before we dive into the nitty gritty and how you're helping businesses, what you're doing today, I want to know why are you so passionate about blockchain and what got you started?
Well, 5, 6 years ago, when I was always passionate about new technology. So, when I first learned about blockchain, I really took a big grasp into it to understand in and out the mechanisms and how it worked um, and learned that it would be a solution to our daily product problems today. And we still have these problems over 5, 6 years now, and blockchain's been out there, just not being heard of for the last 20 years. Being used in defense industry and government sector, but we're still not being able to implement it across the board, across all the industries today. And that's why today I want to, and what I'm doing is educating people and making sure that they know, not just people, but companies, conglomerates that are out there that have a fan base, that what they can do with blockchain technology and how can they improve their daily operations or their revenue streams or their whole business concept. Um, so yeah.
Well, I love that. We're gonna talk about that later, but first, because you are the first, I would say the first blockchain expert that we're actually bringing to the show. So, in layman's terms, can you explain the core principles of a blockchain network or technology? If, just in case my listeners don't know what we are talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the blockchain is an operating system, just like Microsoft or iOS, but it's an operating system on the network, on a cloud. And this operating system has a mechanism of chain blocks that talk and communicate with each other. And you need a community to validate those blocks and validate, be part of the transactions. A community, a part of the consensus mechanism. But blockchain is an operating system which is encrypted. Most are decentralized. As you know, there's a few main ones that are centralized, but still using similar data structures and frameworks. Today, blockchain is most 90% of blockchain is being used right now by the crypto industry, which is a very small use case for the actual adoption of the technology. There's a lot to do with blockchain. Um, it transforms every sector and the operation of supply chain, smart contracts of any sort of over-the-counter business, real estate, car, even ordering food through an app, transport. Um, it would change the whole dilemma of how we go about our day-to-day base lives and the company's operations.
I want to go back to something that you said earlier. So, what kind of problems do blockchain actually solve in our everyday lives?
So basically, you can tokenize all products and services that exist. That means you have a digital contract that represents that actual product or service, and having that, they when you transfer them from party to party, everything is transparent, from the sourcing of a product. If you're sourcing a grain of rice or water, to bottle water, to the packaging, to the employment that and the labor that costs to manufacture or create or operate the factory that manufactures it, until the transport to the supermarket, and from the supermarket the employees to shelve put them on the shelves. Everything can be part of the transition of that smart contract. So the user, the end user, buyer, or any party that is interacting with that water can see the source, and exactly the cost of every point of the mechanism working to the end point of the buyer buying it. So the traceability is there.
Right, and the trust is there, I believe, right?
Well, it's all written, so no one can change and amend the smart contract. It's just input of facts from step to step how the process gets to the end buyer.
So, in your experience, what are the most common misconceptions about blockchain, and how do you address them?
So a lot of people think that blockchain is crypto
Yeah.
or Bitcoin. So that's the first thing. I obviously start, and we do at Lattice Labs, we consult and advocate the actual technical aspects of blockchain, how it's built, what uses does it have, what's a consensus method, what are the protocols used, what are the varieties of different blockchains, and what's the difference between them. What are important factors for the future of blockchain? What is the main positive factors that a blockchain must have to be successful or run, have a longevity, a scalable future? There's 5 points, which is scalability. That's one. Security, computer power, computational power, eco-friendliness is a key point, and streamlining. So all these are the five. We call them at Atlas Labs the five dilemma. Very important. Some blockchains have two or three, but they have to substitute one of those factors for another. Not all of them have those five important factors. And as we're evolving, there's a lot of developers out there trying to achieve those five factors at once. And there's a few out there that have done, including we built our own layer zero, layer one blockchain, Lattice Network. There's a very few other very cool projects out there that I admire as well.
And so you mentioned about, just before we started the recording, you actually talk about that you don't believe in crypto, but you believe in blockchain, and they are like totally different things, right? So what are the, because you are so right. People, when people think about blockchain, we will think of immediately we will think of crypto or Bitcoin, right? And so what are some practical use cases for blockchain beyond cryptocurrency, which is widely known as scandalous, right? How can blockchain be applied to businesses, because most of my listeners, they are actually business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders in the industry. So how can we use blockchain, integrate blockchain to our business?
So, for a case study, when a company, a conglomerate, will come to seek advice or consulting in the blockchain space, we look at their operation today. What do they have online? What do they sell? What's their revenue? What's their products coming from? And from that, we create an ecosystem. First of all, an ecosystem which is just an online platform. It will become, this ecosystem become the base layer for the future of their digital whole journey, this company. Now all the products and services they offer today, we tokenize. So we create a digital version that and tethered and allocate them to the physical items of physical products or physical services. So if you paid for a physical service in real life, you get a digital version, a certificate. But you buying the first most using the platform, you're buying the digital version, and then you're getting the physical attribute. That's first of all. And now then you change the relationship between the user and your products. So you create a gamified relationship, a gamified solution where the users come in, and because they're buying this and this, they get access to this and this. um, so this is how it grows, and that can all be done autonomously without the person selectively choosing clients. The system will automatically understand that that user or client is engaging in your products and services much more than others, um, and beneficial rights and so on can be implemented, rules and set agendas. Having it works for big conglomerate brands, big retail brands, sports teams that have multiple fan bases already. Startups, obviously, they need it's very expensive to operate blockchain. So investing a lot of money in as a startup into blockchain, it's heavy for the company. It's very heavy to get out or pay back your investors. So it's good for a startup to first invest in their own technology and first invest in what their USP, their unique selling points, and then grow from there. But for brands that exist already that you use today, and the majority of the world use, they have the highest potential to enter the space now, because they have those fans. They're using their platforms already. You go to a designer brand online, you have people going on their website today and buying products. But now changing that system to a gamified ecosystem changes allows you to adapt into the blockchain space and tokenize all their products and services. And this is the best framework to start to then grow and build a metaverse. Because once you have utility with your products, online digital products, you then have a utility in the metaverse. Now you see big companies like Mark Zuckerberg, Meta's company, they started building the metaverse before the blockchain. They had no utility. You're creating avatars and walking around. But if you have twin reality and you can go into the Louis Vuitton shop online and buy the latest Louis Vuitton bags physically, digitally, in the virtual space, and then get them physically at home delivered to you. This is this is what a real metaverse is about. Twin realities.
Wow, yeah, I'm kind of like a nerd when it comes to things like that, And so, how? Okay, I just want to make sure that my listeners get the idea. So, What do you mean by gamified experience? And can you give some examples, like specific examples of clients that you have helped? Because again, my listeners, they are entrepreneurs, and most of them, a lot of them, I would say, they have an online business, or their business is based online, digitalized. So what are some of the ways that we can tokenize our business? And we talk about tokenization, I think of NFT. Is it the same concept or is totally different?
So an NFT is a tokenized digital artwork.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, that NFT word is a non-fungible token. It's used back from the Greek times. In exchange of different goods, they would barter with a product that would had a value of a certain good. Um, so companies like sports teams, for example, you have big sports teams. Let's pick Chelsea football team in London. You have fans all over the world. Now, these fans, what do? They buy every year. They buy jerseys for themselves. They buy jerseys for their children. They go attend the games. But that's the relationship with the team doesn't surpass that. The team cannot count how many jerseys that fan has bought. They don't know how many times they actually attended the game. So a sports team having a blockchain platform, that user, they can compete with other fans. Fans can collect jerseys digitally and have a series of these jerseys. Every year these jerseys change. They also get access to it because they do this and they're buying and they're attending a lot of games. You can suggest that that client, that user or fan is a loyal fan to the sporting team, more than others. So that fan should be have access to certain new features or um, certain exclusive experiences that other fans don't have, and the fans can compete against each other using this technology. So that's where the gamified aspect comes in. The users also, as they purchase and take part in your platform on a daily basis, they can earn experience points where they can redeem these for money or a token. I do believe that brands should have a ecosystem token, but I don't believe these tokens should be able to be purchased on online marketplace. If you buy a Louis Vuitton coin, it should be on the Louis Vuitton website and you use your card to buy it. And this is like a credit inside the ecosystem of Louis Vuitton. I don't believe that there should be a price that varies on nonsense on the marketplace. So this is, but definitely tokens is an important part of the ecosystem. Having this credit, internal credit or branded credit coin within.
Can anyone create our own coin?
Yes, they can. They can absolutely. There's many platforms that offer building their own coins. You choose the network that you want to run, but it's important that again, you're not creating a cryptocurrency. You're creating just an ecosystem token for startups as well. They have a large amount of orders or users or clients using their digital platform. If it's a local delivery company or um, a local shopping brand, they can offer a credit system, and it's a token, and this can be implemented first into a website and then to a blockchain platform and grow and grow.
Okay, and I know because I was looking at your website, and I know you have, you also have your own coin, and you do a lot of things. Like your company does a lot of things, and I'm just like very impressed. So, what makes Lattice Network different from other blockchain network out there?
So Lattice Network, we use a data structure that we studied a lot for 4 years. It's a block lattice structure. It was used in the defense sector prior, and it was never used in a civilian application. It's great because it allows every smart contract to be its own, essentially its own nano blockchain. So every wallet has their own block, and blocks, they communicate together to each other. Other networks, you have multiple parties and multiple smart contracts that build up a block, so it's a bit different. Now in the data in the block lattice structure, it's very ecological. You're using very minute computational power compared to other networks. Our transaction, we're also very transparent. To succeed the amount, we have 100,000 TPS, transactions per second. um, that's a lot, and it's not even necessary. To have 100,000 transactions validated in a second. That's more than enough. You have blockchains out there that are trying to succeed that, because their goal is to be a payment system to compete with institutional finance, and that will never happen. But using the technology to adapt and create ecosystems within, this is what Lattice Network is all about. So it's a complete network as a service. It's open source. Companies can just build and deploy their own programs onto the system, very similar to the EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine. Um, Also, our network has no gas fees, so you don't pay anything at all to transfer any digital asset from one wallet to another. Also, it has an interoperable feature, so we've implemented all the node pips of other blockchains, so you can use assets from other networks on Lattice Network. And once you initially send over, you're going to pay that gas fee to that network. But once it's on Lattice Network, you can transfer between Lattice Network wallets and Ethereum digital asset without paying any gas fees.
Wow, that's interesting because yeah, I used to pay gas fee before, so I something new I might want to take a look. So and the other thing that I noticed is that what makes you different is also what makes your network different is also the proof of what you call that, the consensus mechanism, right?
Both.
Proof of work. So what does that mean? That's part I have no idea.
It's very important, actually. So we just discussed the gas
Yeah.
fees. So another blockchain such as Bitcoin, proof of stake, proof of work, they require signified parties that actually put up collateral to stake, and they are chosen as significant parties that to validate those smart contracts. Now, in the proof of voting system, um, dealing with an external ecosystem, we're going to use the same significant party for an Ethereum asset, moving an Ethereum asset to the Lattice network. But once on Lattice network, the voting power exists in the holder and being connected to being online. So the proof of vote is the admin of the platforms that are built, so receiving the actual or issuing the token to the users, um, or the wallets pertaining and using that asset in a process. Now, there's no point of using Ethereum on any Ethereum asset unless you have a utility. So we're creating those utilities, and then that proof of vote comes. The voting mechanism comes from the admin of those utilities. They allow you to use these assets into onto the platform. So it's a voting method internally.
How do you plan to educate more people and expand the understanding and awareness of blockchain technology, everything you just talked about? Because to be honest, I understand like 70% of it. The rest I have to, go and study more and, go and learn more myself. So how do you plan to educate more people on this topic?
Well, we do a lot. Our team is made up of experts from around the world, data scientists. We do a lot of consulting work for companies. But we also have Lattice Labs have an academy online that we teach the basic knowledge of blockchain, and we go into also technical, professional aspects of the space and of the technology. For different types of people, you can find online and choose the courses that you want to study. They're about 4.5 hours, a bit boring. There's audio and video as well to keep you entertained, or you can listen to it before you're going to sleep. Also, we do a lot of hands-on training. There's a lot of hands-on one-on-ones with the companies, a lot of other educational references online that people should search and discover and explore. Um, and start to understand also see other companies and how governments and companies are adopting it in entering into the market using the technology. So implementation is very important. So seeing companies using the technology and the aspects and a bit of knowledge from online and courses and training and one-on-ones and hands-on experts, you can get the grips of the mechanism. Understanding the mechanism, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Everyone has the ability to understand it.
Yeah. I remember when I actually took a course on this, which is why I know what you're talking about. If not, I would be like, what are you talking about? So, and I was very keen. I was like so interested in this topic, and I just want to learn more. And so I highly encourage my listeners or my audience to go and study at your academy and choose their level. Right? You might at the beginner level or you might at the expert level, so it depends on where you are at right now, and there is always like a next level for you. So where do you see this going in the future? Like, where do you see blockchain technology, going in the future? Where are we heading?
I hope in the next 4 to 5 years, we're going to be using blockchain like we use our telephones.
Mm,
Everybody in every sector, every industry will be using blockchain or using blockchain applications in some way. I also believe that education will still be lacking, but people won't even understand or know that they're using blockchain technology when they're going to the supermarket or following a sports fan team that they've always followed for all their life. So a lot of the user bases won't even understand that they're using blockchain, but they will see the simplicity and how the technology has improved. And with a bit of education, um, I hope that people will grasp it much better, and it change the way that we look at technology today.
yeah, that's so true. So as a CEO of your company, what is your vision for your company's role in advancing blockchain innovations and adoption in the future?
Yes, absolutely. We want to continue educating. We want to stay in a good position, and in the market, in the industry. Do a lot of advising. We have a team of developers with offices in 4 countries in the world, um, and we also becoming the go-to people to build and help these companies get transition into the space. If it takes for education period process first, which is the most important, I won't start and engage with companies and ask me to do what they want. Just put us in the industry. No, I want to create a team internally for them that understands their product before we even start to build. And I, I hope we can, I could advocate and be part of the new implementation across the world and help a lot of companies get to where we want to see them and change their operation completely.
Mm. Where do you see, like, which country do you see that is like most advanced in blockchain, where in the world they are mostly, most adoptions are
Yeah.
happening?
Some of the big tech companies and hardware companies in the US, IBM, Amazon, um, they're adopted, they're learning or teaching, or have at least an internal team growing and building and educating internally until they get to the standpoint. They also need to see the market. There's a lot of regulatory aspects out there that put a very bad eye and skepticism for investors and so on. um, Also, the finance industry. So the central banks in Europe, central banks in Africa, some and the US have been looking into blockchain deeply. You hear about CBDCs coming out. That CBDCs not necessarily mean having a central bank digital currency mean they're using a blockchain. It would be essential if they did, but they still have that central. There's some countries are building CBDCs on a centralized platform, but a lot of in Asia we have Japan, Thailand, really entering the market from logistics in their ports, supply chain. They're implementing a lot of infrastructures. Also, Saudi Arabia, the health
Yeah.
system. We work with a few hospitals in Saudi Arabia that have implemented whole platforms, blockchain-based platforms for their patients, for their employees, for all the records, medical records. It's an ideal platform for no duplicate data, corrections, having full control, transparency for but all parties that are connected to the platform. So there's a few companies and big industries out there that really are going to take this on first, because there's an operation that needs to progress and to improve, and they see that for years. Still needing education, of course, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So how do you stay ahead of emerging trends and technology? Because it's a constant evolving landscape, right? When it comes to blockchain. So how do you stay ahead of trends?
It's first is to be really informed and be educated internally as well. What's coming out, what we can build. There's no competition in technology. You need to really take an ego and remove it and put it outside the door. It's about collaborating. It's about collaborating with multiple data sets, and as you see, Web3 today, that's what Web3 is all about. Web3 is allowing multiple companies, digital companies on the web, to connect, to communicate together. So data can be, for the user experience, data can be moved seamlessly across the web without being having to re-enter and um, re-enter or remember or give out data to multiple parties that they don't really need to have access to. So Web3 is very, very cool. Google's a great company. I admire Google a lot. It's one of my favorite tech companies out there. Um, and Google Chrome today, for example, it's already Web3 enabled. You have a lot of features and people, developers building, and as well as with us, at Lattice Labs, we built our Lattice backpack, which allows you to carry your digital assets across the web with
I
you.
love the term
Just
development. Let's just backpack.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh, not just tokens, but also your credentials, badges, artwork, your payment, your data, your history. You carry across the web with you. So it's very cool future.
Yeah. So what else that you want to talk about today? Perhaps I didn't ask you or didn't let you.
No, absolutely. I think we covered a lot, Joanne. Any maybe some question, any out of the box questions you can throw at me. I'm happy to answer.
Thank you so much for taking your time out today. Now tell my listeners if they want to learn more from you or get more education, where should they go?
Absolutely. You can check out latticelabs.io, latticelabs.academy. You can see a lot of educational material there that I hope that your fans and followers will enjoy.
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask you one question. How do I tokenize my podcast if that's possible?
Absolutely. Your media file at the moment, every media file that you create, every episode can be digitalized, can be tokenized in a smart contract.
Mm,
You compress the file and you add it to uh, a certain site of criteria, an NFT, a fungible generator, NFT generator, and your podcast can be digitalized. So um, people that buy it have access to the information, and because we're making history at the moment in the data, what we're doing today on our podcast, we won't be doing it a second time. So it's part of history, and if it's interesting to somebody, I'm sure there it is. They can collect all your podcasts, and you can have loyal uh, uh, viewers that have maybe get to meet you or have access to certain features that you offer.
That is very interesting. I want to look into that. Thank you so much again. And all right, guys, I hope you learned a lot from our guest today on blockchain. And if you have any question, you can always send us a message and we'll get back to you. And also remember to follow him. I put all his link in the show note below, including the website and the academy, where to go and check out all the amazing things they are doing. So if you want to connect with me, follow me on Instagram at joanne.chan. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another juicy episode. Thank you for listening to the Show Up Show with me, Joanne Chan. If you want to create more confidence, visibility, and authority in your business, send me a message on Instagram at Joanne Chan Coaching. DM me the word show up, and I will send you my free signature training, Visibility Creates Possibilities, that you can watch right away to start exploding your visibility today.